I've been using Alpha Capital for the past 60 days and now I'm ready to tell you my honest review. More specifically, first I'm gonna give you an overview of this prop firm. Then I'm gonna show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to follow. After that, I'm going to log in my account to show you the backend and to give you an idea of all the instruments that you can trade and the spreads that you can expect to get. And finally, I'm gonna tell you what in my opinion are all the pros and cons about this prop firm. If at any point during this video you also would like to try Alpha Capital, you can do so by clicking the first link in the video description. And once you get at the checkout page, if you use the coupon code STKTRD, like you see right now on the screen, you're always going to receive at least a 10% discount on all your challenges, no matter the amount of your purchase. So, if you're serious about trying Alpha Capital, I suggest you follow these steps. And now, let's start with the video. I'm currently on the home page of Alpha Capital, and the first thing that we can notice are all the impressive numbers about this prop firm. In fact, they are available in more than 140 countries. They have more than 55,000 qualified analysts, which are basically traders that manage to get funded, and they have in total more than 300,000 traders. So this basically means that around 1 in 6 persons who take a challenges with Alpha Capital end up being funded. They have more than 10,000 virtual strategies in their archive. These are basically the strategies used by the traders inside Alpha Capital, and they have paid out more than 80 millions to their funded traders. Not only that, if we go on the Trustpilot page of Alpha Capital, we can see that the prop firm has accumulated more than 11,000 reviews with an average score of 4.5, which of course is a huge achievement and a sign of a prop firm that is reliable and trustworthy. Going back to the home page, if we start scrolling a bit down, we can see a few more information related to this prop firm, like for example that they allow you to trade with zero commission. In fact, Alpha Capital allow you to trade both with a standard account, which is an account where you are paying zero commission but your spreads are a bit higher, or with a raw account where you're going to pay $2.5 per lot trader per side, so a total of $5 to open and close a position. They also give you access to one-on-one risk reviews. This is a feature that is reserved only to the best traders inside Alpha Capital, but it's good to know that if you can prove to be a profitable trader long term, you can get access to this type of perks. They also allow you to trade a wide range of products, more specifically forex, indices and metals. They give you unlimited trading days, so this means that you don't have any limitation when it comes to the amount of days that it takes to pass your evaluation phase. And finally, since this prop firm is backed by a broker, they give you access to an institutional trading environment. And later on, once I log in my account and I show you the type of spreads that you can expect to get with Alpha Capital, you will understand why this is crucial and also why 1 in 6 people who take a challenge with Alpha Capital end up being funded. Lastly, before showing you what type of challenges Alpha Capital offer, I would like to spend a bit of time talking about the Alpha Capital Discord server, because in my opinion this is one of the best Discord communities when it comes to prop firms. In fact, not only this server is really active, having people posting and talking 24/7, but it also have a few interesting channels that are there to create a sense of community. In fact, if we scroll here on the list of channels, as you can see, there is an entire section called community, where for example you can post your payout proof, like we can see right now. There is a channel about a game night. In fact, it's not uncommon to have, for example, poker tournament being organized inside the channel. There is also a section where the podcaster Word of Wisdom posts his latest content, so you can get access to it. As you can see, there is another channel related to Fantasy Football League, another channel about the trade of the week. So basically, I can feel that Alpha Capital is really trying to build a community inside their server. Not only that, there is an entire section dedicated to education, where you're gonna be able to have access to, for example, institutional market data. You can see the Market Watch with Planty, which is an analyst of Alpha Capital that is going to post his insights inside the market. Not only that, if we scroll up, we can also have access to more common channels, like for example the public chat or the Ask Alpha, where you can basically just ask questions related to the prop firm. So overall, I would say that this is a really good Discord server, and if you're planning to use Alpha Capital, I highly encourage you to join and to become an active member of the community. So now that I give you an overview of Alpha Capital, let's talk about the type of challenges that they offer. So as you can see, currently Alpha Capital offer a 1-step, 2-step and 3-step challenge. When it comes to the 1-step challenge, you can only pick the Alpha 1 and the size goes from $5,000 till $200,000. A few advantages of this challenge are that you have no profit cap, you can request a payout on demand, and this is the quickest way to become an alpha trader. In fact, you just need to pass a 1-step evaluation and you're gonna become a funded trader. As you can see, the maximum leverage allowed is 1 to 30, the sim profit target is 10% of your initial balance, the maximum drawdown is 6%, and in this case this drawdown is trailing, so this means that it's going to follow you until you reach an amount of profit equal to the drawdown. So let's say that you pick a $100,000 account, the drawdown is going to follow you until your balance reach $106,000. At that point, it's going to lock there and is not gonna follow you anymore. The maximum daily drawdown is 4%, and also in this case is trailing, and it is based on the highest equity or balance at the end of the day. The maximum trading days are unlimited, as I showed you at the beginning, and the profit split is set at 80%. Now let's talk about two-step challenges. As you can see, in this case you have 4 different options. In fact, you have Alpha Pro 6%, Alpha Pro 8%, Alpha Pro 10%, and Swing. And all of these challenges goes from $5,000 till $200,000. And the main advantages about a two-step challenge is that you have no profit cap, and you can pick between a bi-weekly payout or an on-demand payout. So when it comes to the first 3 challenges, Alpha Pro 6, 8, and 10, the main difference between these challenges is simply the profit target, maximum drawdown, and daily drawdown. In fact, as you can see, if you pick a Pro 6%, your maximum simulated profit is going to be 6%, your maximum simulated drawdown is 6%, and your maximum daily drawdown is 3%. In case on Alpha Pro 8%, as you can see, the simulated profit is set at 8%, the maximum simulated drawdown is 8%, and the maximum daily drawdown is 4%. While for Alpha Pro 10%, the maximum simulated profit target is 10%, the maximum simulated drawdown is 10%, and the maximum daily drawdown is 4%. This when it comes to the first step. Another thing that I would like to point out is that all two-step challenges have a static maximum drawdown. So this means that the maximum drawdown is based on your initial balance and is not gonna trail you, but is gonna remain static for the entire duration of the challenges. Now, going back to the Alpha Pro 6%, as you can see in this case, the second step has the same exact percentages of the first step. In fact, there are no difference. While when it comes for Alpha Pro 8%, in this case, as you can see, the target for step 2 is 5% when it comes to profit, while the maximum overall drawdown and the maximum daily drawdown remain the same. Also, for the Alpha Pro 10%, the simulated profit target is 5% for the second step, while the maximum overall drawdown and the maximum daily drawdown remain the same as the one step. Now let's talk about the Swing challenge. As you can see in this case, the simulated profit target for the first step is 10%, while the simulated profit target for the second step is 5%. The maximum simulated drawdown is 10% for both phases. The maximum daily drawdown is 5% for both phases. You have an unlimited amount of days to complete the challenge, and also in this case the profit split is 80%. As you may have noticed, the condition of the Swing challenge and of the Alpha Pro 10% challenge are basically the same, but there are a few differences between them. More specifically, when it comes to a Swing challenge, you have less limitations when it comes to news trading, and you are also allowed to hold trades over the weekend, both during the evaluation stage and also during the funded stage. Finally, we have the 3-step challenge. In this case, you can only pick the Alpha 3 challenge, and the size goes from $10,000 till $200,000. When it comes to the leverage, as you can see, the maximum amount is 1 to 30 for all these steps. The simulated profit target is 8% for the first step, 4% for the second step, and 4% for the third step. The maximum simulated drawdown is 6% for all these steps, and as I was telling you before, also in this case, the maximum simulated drawdown is static, so it's not gonna trail you, but is simply based on your initial balance. The maximum daily drawdown is 4% in all steps, and similar to the 2-step challenges and the 1-step challenges, this drawdown is trailing, so this means that it's always based on the highest balance or equity at the end of the day. The maximum simulated days are unlimited, so again, you can take as much time as you want to complete this challenge, and once you are funded, the profit split is going to be 80%. Now that I give you an overview of all the challenges that Alpha Capital offer, let me show you a few rules that you need to be aware of. First of all, as I was telling you before, based on the challenge that you pick, the rules related to news trading are going to change. So when it comes to all the challenges, you don't have any limitation during the evaluation phase. Instead, once you are funded, based on your account, the rules that you need to follow are gonna be different. For example, if you have a 2-step Alpha Pro 8% or Alpha Pro 10%, you're not gonna be able to open any trade 2 minutes before and 2 minutes after a major new release, while if you have a Alpha Pro 6% or you bought a 1-step challenge or a 3-step challenge, in this case you're not gonna be able to open any trade 5 minutes before and 5 minutes after any major news release. While when it comes to a 2-step Swing challenge, you don't have any limitation regarding news trading. The only rules is that if you open a trade 2 minutes before or 2 minutes after a major news release, you need to hold the trade for at least 2 minutes before closing it. Also, when it comes to weekend holding, based on the challenge that you purchase, you're gonna have different rules that you need to follow. Like for example, if you went for a 2-step Pro challenge, you are allowed to hold trade trades during the weekend during the evaluation phase, but once you get to the funded stage, you are not allowed to hold trades during the weekend. On the contrary, if you purchase a 2-step swing challenge, a 1-step or a 3-step challenge, you are allowed to hold trades over the weekend, both in the evaluation and also during the funded stage. When it comes to copy trading, Alpha Capital allow you to do it. The only rules that you need to follow is that all the accounts involved in the copy trading need to be yours. So it doesn't matter if your account is either the master or the slaves. If the account is yours, you won't have problems. Where instead you may risk having your account suspended is if you start copy trading someone else's account or you engage in the practice of group trading. Two more strategies that Alpha Capital allow you to do are hedging and stacking. When it comes to hedging, you can do it inside the same account, so it's not a problem if you open two positions on the same pair in opposite direction, but it's a problem if you start hedging between two different Alpha Capital accounts. While when it comes to stacking, you can do it in the same account and there are no problem if you open multiple positions in the same direction in the same pair. Finally, also the use of expert advisor is allowed inside Alpha Capital, but again there are a few rules that you need to follow. First of all, expert advisor are only available for MetaTrader 5, and before using it you need to send an email to the support of Alpha Capital so that they can review your expert advisor and tell you if it is allowed. In fact, expert advisors that engage in practices like high frequency trading are banned and cannot be used. Talking about things that are banned, here you can see a few trading strategies that are prohibited inside Alpha Capital. Like for example, you cannot do latency trading, you cannot do arbitrage trading, you cannot do high frequency trading, you cannot do reverse trading or group hedging, and you cannot spam the order book. To be honest with you, all these rules are pretty standard and there is nothing new. The only thing that you need to be aware is the high frequency trading rule. In fact, when it comes to Alpha Capital, they consider every trade that is held for less than 2 minutes as high frequency trading, and if more than 50% of all the trades inside your account are less than 2 minutes, you might even risk in losing your funded account or not being admitted to the funded stage even if you reach the profit target. Now, if you follow all the rules that I just showed you, you're gonna be able to receive your funded account. And once you're funded, the most important thing that you probably want to know is how do I get paid? It's pretty simple. If you selected the bi-weekly payout structure, every 2 weeks you're gonna be able to request a payment. The only condition is that you need to have a minimum virtual profits of $100. Instead, when it comes to payouts on demand, there are two conditions that you need to respect. The first one is that you need to respect a 40% consistency rules. So this means that there cannot be a single day where you generated more than 40% of your overall profits. And the second condition is that you need to have generated a minimum of 2% of gross profits on the account balance. If you respect these two conditions, you're gonna be able to request a payout whenever you want. In fact, this is one of the main advantages of selecting the performance fee on demand. Lastly, if you can prove to be profitable long term, Alpha Capital give you the opportunity to join Alpha Prime, which is a traditional proprietary trading company in London. This means that you're going to become a true funded trader, receive a monthly salary, and basically be paid to trade. There are 3 different ways to qualify. Number 1 is reaching a 40,000 profit on a single simulated payout. Number 2 is achieving 5 payouts from a single qualified account. And number 3 is reaching $100,000 in lifetime payouts with Alpha Capital Group. If you're able to satisfy one of these 3 criteria, you're gonna have the opportunity to join Alpha Prime, go to a physical office to trade, and be surrounded by profitable trader, risk manager, and coaches that are gonna help you bring your trading skills to the next level. So, now that I give you an overview of Alpha Capital, I'll show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to follow. Let me log in my account to show you the backend and to give you an idea of all the instruments that you can trade and the spreads that you can expect to get. I'm currently inside my Alpha Capital account, and the first thing that you're gonna see is the Get Started section. I found this part of the backend really interesting because it's basically a collection of video tutorials that are gonna help you navigate the Alpha Capital menu and also receive useful information, like for example how to log in into your MetaTrader 5 account, how to identify support resistance, and also how to understand how the financial market works. Below the Get Started section, you have the section related to your account's metric. In this case, for example, you can see the information related to my $100,000 account. As you can see, everything is still blank because this is the latest account that I purchased and I still hasn't placed a single trade on it. But as you can see, if I scroll down, as you start trading with the account, all these numbers are going to update to give you a panoramic view of all the most important information related to your accounts. Inside this section of the dashboard, you can also have access to other information, like for example, advanced insight, trading history, account analysis, and also account info. Below the account metrics, you have a section related to the trading assessments. Here you can basically purchase a challenge, and remember that when you get a checkout, if you use the coupon code STKTRD, you're always going to receive at least a 10% discount. Next, we have a section related to the competition. As you can see right now, I'm looking at the upcoming competition, which is going to be held in June 2025, and if I want, I can simply click here on enter competition and join. The good things about this competition is that the prize is always a challenge. So basically, you can join a competition for free, win a challenge, and then if you manage to get to the funded stage, start earning real profits without the need to invest money to purchase a challenge. If I come here where it says ongoing, I can see the current challenge. As you can see, this is the challenge for May 2025, and there are around 5,600 contestants. I can see the challenge that has already ended, and also I can see all the challenge where I participated. What is really interesting about the ended challenge is that if I click on see leaderboard, I can have a panoramic view of all the information related to the traders that performed the best. Like in this case, the first contestant was Muhammad, and here I can see his P&L curve. I can see what is the final equity. I can see his starting balance, I can see the return that he was able to achieve, and I can also see what was the most traded product. And I can have access to all this information for all the other participants. Let's say, for example, that I want to see how the number 3 contestant has performed. I can just click on view details, and as you can see now, I can see his information, and in his case, the most traded product was USD JPY. Below the competition overview, I have access to the trade mate. This personally is the most impressive section inside the Alpha Capital backend, because it gives you access to instruments that sometimes you need to pay for, and inside Alpha Capital they are completely free. So first of all, as you can see, we have the market screener, where you can basically have a look at some trading opportunity. You can see the volatility analysis. In this case, we are looking at GER30, but if I scroll down, as you can see, here are all the instruments that I can have an inside look in. I can have access to the screener. I'm currently looking at stocks, but if I just click on it, I can have access also to crypto and Forex. And by clicking on Forex, as you can see now, I'm looking at all the most important pairs. Then I can click on market overview. In this case, again, I'm looking at crypto, but by just clicking on this arrow, I can change to stocks and then also look at Forex. Then I have access to the Forex matrix. In this case, I can look at all the most popular pairs, and I can either look at the prices and also at the heat map. And finally, I can have access to the ticker tape. Next to the market screener, I have access to the economic calendar. This is not something groundbreaking, but it's always nice to have it inside the backend of your profile. Then I can have a look at the market news, not only the news feed from major publication, but also the Twitter feed, where I can add and remove profiles. I can get access to a trade journals, where I can basically add all the trades that I take and add notes to them. Then I can get access to the market report. As you can see, in this case, I have this dashboard here that show me an analysis of all the various pair. And if I want, I can also sign up and basically receive these updates directly into my email. And finally, if I click on trading view chart, I have basically access to a trading view chart of various pair. This come handy because Alpha Capital doesn't support this trading platform directly, but you can still have access to this type of charts because some users find them more user friendly and also more smooth. And so if, for example, you prefer to do your analysis on TradingView and then place your trades, for example, of MetaTrader 5, you can do all of this directly inside the Alpha Capital backend. Now that I give an overview of the backend of Alpha Capital, let me log in into my MetaTrader 5 account to show you which instruments you can trade and what are the spreads that you can expect to get. So I'm inside my MetaTrader 5 account with Alpha Capital. I want to point out that this is a raw account, so this means that the spreads that are going to get are low, but I'm gonna pay a commission every time I open or close a position. And as you can see here, the spreads are wonderful in my opinion. Like for every single Forex major, I have a spreads lower than 10, and this is probably one of the reasons why 1 in 6 traders who take a challenge with Alpha Capital end up being funded, because these trading conditions, in my opinion, are amazing. Like for example, as you can see, AUD JPY spread of 4 or 5, CAD JPY spread of 8, Euro AUD spread of 5, Euro CAD spread of 8, Euro GBP spread of 5. The spread on gold is a bit higher compared to the average, but again, something completely doable. In fact, for me personally, everything that is above 20 when it comes to the spread on gold, I consider it a bit high, but as you can see, the number is not that far from 20, so I still judge it as doable. Now let me check some other pairs. So I just need to come here where it says symbol, I click on ACG raw, and let's look at Forex raw. Let me add, for example, Euro USD. Let me add Euro JPY. Also let me add GBP AUD, and let's add also USD JPY. So as you can see, for Euro USD, we are even getting a spread of 0, which is incredible. Euro JPY spread of 5. GBP IUD, the spread is a bit high, but again, this is not a pair that is so commonly traded, so I would expect something like this. USD JPY spread of 3, 4. So yeah, as you can see, the spreads that you're going to get with Alpha Capital are incredibly good. And personally, these are some of the best spreads that I ever saw when it comes to prop firms. Now that I give you an overview of Alpha Capital, I show you what type of challenges they offer and what are the rules that you need to follow. I log in my account to show you the backend and to give you an idea of all the instruments that you can trade and the spreads that you can expect to get. Let me tell you what in my opinion are all the pros and cons about this prop firm. So when it comes to pro, the first one in my opinion are the static drawdown. In fact, as I told you, beside the one-step challenge, all the other challenges inside this prop firm have a maximum drawdown which is static. So this means that it's not gonna trail you, but it's gonna be simply based on your initial balance. And when it comes to prop firms, this is something that is becoming increasingly rare. So seeing that Alpha Capital give you this opportunity, in my opinion, is a huge pro. The second pro of this prop firm are the tight spread. In fact, as I just showed you 1 minute ago, the spreads that you are getting on the major forex pair are incredible. In fact, most major forex pair are gonna have a spread of less than 10, and also when it comes to gold, even if we are just a bit above 20, the spread is still really good. And if you're not profitable or you don't manage to pass your challenge, the reason is definitely not going to be because Alpha Capital gave you bad trading condition. The third pro of this prop firm is that they offer a free trial. In fact, once you create an account on Alpha Capital, you're gonna be able to try the prop firm completely for free and get a challenge that is gonna last you for 30 days. Of course, you're not gonna be able to receive any profit from this challenge, but it's going to be enough to give an idea of how this prop firm works and to get familiar with all the trading platform that they offer. And the final pro of this prop firm, in my opinion, is TradeMate. In fact, as I show you, that section of the back end of Alpha Capital, in my opinion, is impressive because it gives you access to a lot of data that then you can use to take informed decision when it comes to trading. Now, let's talk about the cons of Alpha Capital. Personally, the only cons that I found about this prop firm is the fact that scalping is not allowed. In fact, as we have seen, you are not allowed to hold trades for less than 2 minutes. So this means that if you're a scalper, somebody that likes to be in and out of a trade in less than 1 minute, this is not the prop firm for you. And personally, after seeing the spreads that they offer, I kinda understand why that's the case. Because with spreads that low, if they also allow you to scalp, it will be too easy to pass the challenge. And so they prefer to give you really good trading condition, but then tell you that you need to hold every trade for at least 2 minutes. So there you have it. This was my review of Alpha Capital. As I told at the beginning, if you also would like to try this prop firm, you can do so by clicking the first link in the video description. And once you get at checkout, if you use the coupon code STKTRD, like you see right now on the screen, you are always gonna receive at least a 10% discount on all your challenges, no matter the size of your purchase. If you enjoyed this video, please leave it a like, and until next time, happy trades!